people here. I want to give you some information that that I didn't come up with. Okay, I learned it from a millionaire, from a multi-millionaire, and now we've applied it, and it's working. It's working very, very well. And like, if you paid attention to what it is that I said if you knew that you had to teach the information that I'm about to give you right now, you would learn it a whole lot differently. Does that make sense? You would learn it a whole lot differently because you knew you had to teach it. And that's how I want you to start learning from this point on in your life. I always want you to learn from the standpoint that you're going to have to teach the information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you knew, guys, that's the only way we can legitimize change, is if you have actually learned something. Does that make sense, guys? This is very, very important that you do this. If you're not taking notes, I recommend that you take notes. Just imagine if I wrote down on this board the lottery numbers, okay? Imagine if I wrote them down and then I erased it right away. Would you want to commit it to memory, or would you want to have it written down so you can go cash your check?
No.
How many of you want to go cash your check and have the numbers already written down? Or you want to start thinking, oh, is it 5, is it 7? No. You want to know that you know that you know. And that's the information I'm about to give right now in this training, guys. So we're going to talk about the WIN formula. All right? Everybody say WIN formula.
WIN formula.
When you look at this word WIN, okay, how many of you want to win in life? Okay? Not just here in our goal, but you want to win in life, right? And this formula right here, you can apply it to everything, but we're going to talk about how you apply it into this particular business. And after the WIN formula, I'm going to talk about the 30-day game plan in our goal. I'm going to also talk about the 90-day game plan in our goal. I'm going to talk about the 6-month game plan, because it does not take years for you to become wealthy here in our goal. It takes a very short period amount of time. Your first 6 months, okay, 2 periods of a 90-day blitz that you actually go on will set up the foundation for a 6-figure a month income. And I can't make any income claims that that's what you're going to earn, but all I can tell you is this: the people that have followed this blueprint and have not hesitated on following it, and actually taught some other people how to do the same thing, they've actually earned millions of dollars here with Organic Gold. You told you about the 50-50 payout that we have here with Organic Gold. Last year, the company doing $47 million in revenue. That means that we paid out close to $25 million in income, okay, to people just like you and I. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want you guys to understand this WIN formula that we're going to talk about. I want you to start with this. When you talk about W, W means that are you willing? Okay, I want you to write that down. Are you willing? Everybody say willing.
Willing.
Everybody say this: I am willing, to learn.
To learn.
We talk about the teachability index, guys. There's something called the teachability index. This is what's going to determine if you're teachable and coachable. All right? And being teachable and coachable is the very first thing that you need to become wealthy. Be teachable and coachable. Now, if I asked you, you're in this room, how many of you are teachable and coachable? Raise your hand. You know for a fact that you're teachable and coachable. You follow very simple instructions. Okay? All of you are raising your hands. Well, let me prove to you that a large majority of you are not teachable and coachable. The teachability index is the reason, okay, or is the problem solver that you can have that allows you to know if you're really teachable and coachable. The teachability index is this: what is my willingness to learn? What is my willingness to learn the information, okay, times my willingness to change? Did you write that down? What is my willingness to learn the information times my willingness to change? So let me give you a live example that I just gave you about 3 minutes ago. You obviously have a strong willingness to learn because you're still here and it's going on 10 o'clock. Awesome. Give yourself a big hand. That's awesome. But then I said times it by your willingness to change. I said if you're not taking notes, I recommend that you take notes. How many of you were not taking notes before but decided to change and started taking notes? Okay? So if your willingness to learn is at a 10, but your willingness to learn is at a 0, 10 times 0 is 0, you're not teachable and coachable. And if I step on your toes, I mean to. Because somebody had to step on my toes 2 years ago for me to actually get moving. Does that make sense? So for you to learn this information, you want to have it written down because you actually want to go back and review your notes over and over again so you can know this information, because guess what? You're going to have to teach it one day because the teacher always makes the most money. How many of you know that?
That's right.
It's not the student. You start out as a student and you remain a student, but when you start teaching, that's where the big money really starts coming to play. So you've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to take, you got to be willing to do what is necessary. I'm going to talk about our 4 steps process that we have. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things that we do, but you're going to have to be willing to do what? You're going to be willing to show up to the opportunity meeting that takes place every Tuesday night. You're going to be willing to show the plan 4 times a week. You've got to be willing to actually prospect 2 to 5 people per day and sample 2 to 5 people. You're going to be willing to learn our 4 steps. You're going to be willing to learn the 4 questions that we have or the coffee sales script. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to be willing to do. That just means that you have a strong desire. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now I'm going to capitalize the I because the I means 2 things. It means that you take the initiative. Okay? Somebody that wins takes the initiative. You're going to have to learn how to take the initiative. That means you do something before you're told to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You take the initiative to actually set up your coffee and jazz mixer when? Tonight. I'm going to talk about how you need to book 4 right away. You take the initiative. You don't wait on it. Procrastination is like suicide, but on a payment plan. Whatever it is that you procrastinated on in your life, it still hasn't come into your life. Does that make sense? So things that you need to do right now, you need to get done right now. What's important now? That's another formula for when. So I've got to be willing, then I've got to take the initiative, but that I also mean I've got to be able to inspire. Everybody say inspire. I've got to be able to inspire myself, and I've also have to have the ability to inspire other people. Winners have the ability to inspire other people. Does that make sense? They inspire them to see themselves bigger than where they are right now. That was my goal for tonight, to inspire you to believe that you are already wealthy. To trick you into believing that yes, you were created to be wealthy. And you can play that trick on your mind, and guess what? Eventually, that trick will become a reality. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. It only just takes the information that you give it. Words are the seeds for feelings. The words that you say, those thoughts that you have. Okay? Because that's where words come from. They come from your thoughts. And guys, you become what it is that you think about. When you understand that, when you understand that principle, that you have become what it is that you have thought about, life becomes so much easier because now you know that all I need to do is control my thoughts. But for you to control your thoughts, you need to know where thoughts come from. Thoughts come from 3 places. They come from your 5 senses. That's one place that they come from. Every time you see something, it invokes a thought, correct? Every time you taste something, it invokes a thought. Every time you say something, it invokes a thought. Does that make sense? Any of those 5 senses, it invokes thoughts. The second place thoughts come from is the devil. Right? Okay. The third place that it comes from is God. Those are only 3 places that thoughts come from. So you have to address every thought that comes into your mind and say, okay, well, where is this thought coming from? Because this thought will create my life. So I've got to learn how to inspire people. Does that make sense? Yes. And guys, you're able to inspire based on what you put inside of you. That's why it's called inspire. It's based on what's already inside of you. Your mom told you garbage in, garbage out. She could have said good things in, good things out. Does that make sense, guys? And the end is for you to never, ever, ever quit. Never, ever, ever quit. The journey that you're starting on right now, never, ever, ever quit. I've been involved in this industry of network marketing now for 7 years. July is coming up. July 27, 2004 was the very first time I got involved in this industry of network marketing. I was 21 years old when I got involved. And I was so excited. I'm just as excited as I was 7 years ago as I am today. And I was broke 7 years ago. I was broke 2 years ago. Okay, but I was fired up about life because I saw something that could just possibly, back then it was possibly change everything about my life. Never ever quit. Never ever quit. Ever. Ever. There are going to be ups and downs that come along in this business, but if you understand the principle, if you become what it is you think about, and you understand the factors that actually, govern how you believe, the environment that you're in, the people that you're around, the information that you listen to every single day, and the experiences that you give yourself, all those things govern how you believe. And if you learn these things, guys, I'm telling you, life will take on a completely different meaning than you ever thought in your life. So never ever quit. That's the win formula, guys. 30-day game plan that I want you to implement. Charles, if you help me with this board, move it out of the way for a second. The 30-day game plan, guys, is for you to execute the 4 steps. Everybody say the 4 steps.
4 steps.
The 4 steps in Organic Gold, guys. I didn't create the 4 steps. Okay? None of us created the 4 steps. The gentleman that created the 4 steps is our VP of Sales, Mr. Holton Bugs. Now, Mr. Holton Bugs had over 20 years of experience in this industry of network marketing. Is it safe to say that he knows what he's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay? This gentleman is absolutely incredible. He's helped several people earn millions of dollars in this industry of network marketing. He's the gentleman that took the time out, spent hours, days, weeks putting these 4 steps together. Our system that we have here in Organic Gold. The very first step, guys, this is part of your 30-day game plan. The first 30 days in Organic Gold, guys, anybody, everybody say anybody. I don't care if you've had success before, you've never done this before, anybody can implement these 4 steps. What's simple to do in life is also simple not to do. These 4 steps, guys, nothing difficult about it, okay? But you're going to have that teachability index, right? The willingness to learn and the willingness to change. The first step, guys, we talked about the 4 steps, is it says that you become the product of the product. Does that make sense? Be a product of the product. What does that mean? That means that you want to submit your testimony. Submit your testimony to your sponsor within your first 48 hours of you actually getting started with Organic Gold. Can everybody do that? Can everybody just write down on a piece of paper or maybe email whatever your testimony was within the first 48 hours? Can everybody do that? Maybe you slept better. Okay? Whatever it is, submit that testimony to your sponsor. If you know that you're sitting in this room right now and you have not done that, I would recommend that you go ahead and do that. I recommend that you do it tonight. Submit that testimony. Now, let me tell you why. Because most human beings, you don't do things because somebody told you to do it. You only do it if you know the why. Why should I do that? Well, guys, understand this. Millions of people are going to get involved in Organic Gold, and millions of people are going to quit Organic Gold. How many of you know that? How many of you know people are going to quit on it? By the way, some of you in this room, you're going to quit. Keep it real with you. Because life happens. Okay? But guess what, guys? If they have a testimony on what this product has done for them, even if they stop coming to meetings, even if they stop doing 3-way calls, even if they stop doing coffee and jazz mixes, even if they stop building the business, if they have a testimony on what this product has done for them, would they stop drinking this coffee? No. Does that make sense, guys? That's what's so important for you to make sure that everybody that comes into your group actually gets a testimony within the first, 48 hours. Crucial, guys. Just that alone is millions of dollars to you in your residual income. All right? Now, when you look at this, it also says set yourself up with a proper authorship. I want you to understand this. This right here, this circle right here is a clear representation of the amount of money that you're willing to let go. But it's also a clear representation of the amount of money that you're willing to let in. It says set up the proper authorship. Now, we're in the coffee business, correct?
Yes.
So that means that if you're in the coffee business, that means that you need what? Coffee. So if you don't have any coffee, what does that mean? That you're out of what? Business. So when you get started with us, whether it's the bronze, silver, or the gold pack, my recommendation to you is, off top, set yourself up on at least 6 boxes of coffee just for starters. But within the first 60 to 90 days, you need to be on a case of product every single month. A case of product. You say, well, David, how much is a case of product? Well, a case of product is $450. Okay? $450. Man, Dave, that's a whole lot of money. If you start saying that that's a whole lot of money, it will always be a whole lot of money.
That's right.
You got to stop saying that. $450 actually gets you can get a combo case. 15 black, 15 latte. Now, if you look at the rest of our system here, it says that everybody that gets started, as soon as they get started, they need to purchase a box of black and a box of latte, correct? Yeah. So that means that if only 15 people join your business for the whole entire month through the coffee and jazz mixes that you do, when they purchase their box of black and a box of latte, guess what happens? They give you $30. 30 times 15 is what? $450. So you just got your $450 back.